Recently, I was asked what I found really helps people who are going through the dream arc. So I thought I would just kind of share a little bit about that here. The first thing I can mention is the dream arc approach, which lies at the heart of the whole experience. Anybody who genuinely embraces the approach, they get so much more out of their dream arc journey. And I'll just sum it up here. Through an attitude of discovery, we can't help but learn, stretch, evolve, and experience all kinds of surprises. Through an attitude of playfulness, we start to really have fun. We invite in a childlike sense of wonder, even when we're working through deep emotional material. Through an attitude of trust, we surrender to the wild living wisdom of life and come to remember that we are safe, always held in the lap of love. And finally, through an attitude of generosity, as we unwind and unlearn as opposed to strive and fix, we naturally approach the world and our lives with ever expanding kindness and creative engagement. Okay, so that was the dream arc approach. Another thing I've noticed really helps people dive into the dream arc in a satisfying way is when they do it together with others, right? So it could be doing it with a friend or a small group or a little pod, as we might call it, or joining a retreat or participating in dream pod community calls. Just being with others, even though their journeys will look really different from each other's, can make a world of difference. There are so many experiences that the dream arc initiates in people's lives. There's so much to share about, to explore together, to dream together, even to do together, like going on an adventure, sharing a meal, or spending time in nature. So the dream arc is really built for relationship, for community. One thing many people have reported back to me that's been helpful, including my daughter Maya, is doing a little bit of dream arc every day. So maybe one day you just watch one of Richard's teaching videos, or you explore one piece of art that was created by one of our amazing featured contributors, or you receive and do one of the experiential invitations that we extend, or you add something to your dream arc life web or your altar or your journal, or you spend time maybe connecting with one of the dream arc's guest wisdom keepers, or you go for a walk or a hike in nature, or you click on one of the animal oracles and spend some time reading about the animal in the codex, or maybe you write down a dream in your journal. And of course, I could go on because the dream arc is a vast world with lots of opportunities, but you get the idea. From my own experience, I've found that just doing a little bit every day, it could be as little as just spending 1 minute hanging out with a gecko in your backyard. The dream arc just kind of starts to take on its own life. It starts to become a part of your life, and your life starts to take on more and more meaning and starts to feel more and more full of magic. Okay, so here's another one. People who seem to get that the dream arc is a global adventure, both global and local, seem to get a lot out of it. The truth is that we've got people doing the dream arc all over the world, and the numbers of people who are being called into this adventure are growing rapidly. So, of course, those who sign up for the program have lots of opportunities to connect with, even share experiences with, and join DreamPod community calls with people all over the world. And they start to feel in a deeper way just how different our experiences are based on where we're living. It is just so incredibly inspiring when everyone is diving deep into each of their local lives and then sharing with each other. We can learn so much from each other's experience. Like my summer solstice is somebody else's winter solstice. Like I might get that intellectually, but when I'm with someone and I can see that it's getting really dark outside for them and they're freezing under their blanket, and I look outside and it's totally summer, I feel a different kind of sense that I'm on this planet together with other people on the opposite side of the same planet. So when I go outside and I see lizards and snakes and coyotes, somebody else in the dream arc might go outside and see a kangaroo or a lion or a toucan bird. What's sitting around a dinner table here in Santa Fe, New Mexico feels like where I live might be completely different from someone who's in Morocco or Italy or India or Guatemala. So the more deeply we enter into the stream of our own lives, the cultural influences all around us, the particular natural environment that we live in with its seasonal rhythms, its weather patterns, its animal inhabitants, its plants, rivers, trees, and rocks, the more we come to both appreciate and into relationship with our own home, and then the more we have to share about our own natural and cultural environments with other people. And this includes discovering, learning from, and sharing about the indigenous wisdom keepers who carry the wisdom traditions of the land where we live, celebrating the differences as well as the deeper commonalities and wisdom threads that are uniting all of us. The more we engage in meaningful experiences and rituals wherever we are in the world, the more rich our lives become. We start to feel that we truly are part of one human family, and not just human, but one Gaia family. And of course, as we form more and more connections with those people, places, and beings who are different or less familiar to us, we form bonds. We start to care. And when we care, not just in an abstract way, but in a deeply personal way, and as our love across borders grows, so does our motivation to serve each other and our planet. And as they say, we protect that which we love. So the global aspect of the dream arc is extremely powerful. Ultimately, it encourages us to both celebrate and transcend our differences and to drop into the heart. Another important thing that seems to help people get the most out of the DreamArc online journey is understanding that it isn't an online version of the DreamArc Animal Codex. It certainly includes the Codex, which is Richard Rudd's amazing piece of work where he poetically explores the meaning and cultural influences of each of the 192 animals, where each animal provides different guidance for us. But the online course is so much more than the codex. It's not even a course, really. It's a journey. It's an adventure. It's a way of life. It's full of practical invitations that help us get off the computer and out into the world, that encourage us to practice deep self-care and to encourage us to stretch outside of our comfort zone. So many people who really dive into the adventure come to experience that it takes on its own life and it requires very little efforting. They quickly learn that the dream arc is not an intellectual exercise or something to be studied. It doesn't require that you learn a system or follow a protocol or a predetermined sequence or linear structure. It's something to be experienced. It's something that's taking place all the time. It exists in every nook and cranny of our lives. It hums along in the background, as Richard always says, adding a dimension of excitement, meaning, and beauty. Now, for people who come to the dream arc who've spent years studying and diving into all kinds of systems, this can make them a little bit uneasy at first. But eventually, once they really give themselves permission to let go and to start playing, they totally love it. And they realize that while it's something to be prioritized, it is not something that needs to be compartmentalized in any way, if that makes sense. So I guess what I mean is that instead of taking our attention away from life, the dream arc makes us even more present to what is happening in our life. So whether we're traveling or going to school or working 9 to 5 or taking care of a sick family member, the dream arc is there to support, enliven, and help us draw even more meaning and inspiration out of whatever is happening. And it helps us make the most of whatever is happening through our presence, through our opening minds, opening hearts. It's actually like the best possible thing you can take on the road with you. Another thing that eventually really enriches people's dream arc experience is the collaborative invitation that lies at the heart of it. So there's the way that the dream arc invites us to enter into a constant collaboration with the universe and all living beings within it. And then there's also the way that it invites us to connect with actual amazing people. And I'm talking about our growing community of fellow DreamArc journeyers and over 130 contributors whose works of art, stories, music, poetry, teachings are just sprinkled throughout the experience. One of the most important collaborative invitations you're ever going to get in the dream arc is to learn from and connect with our guest Indigenous wisdom keepers from around the world, each representing different wisdom traditions and doing very needed and inspiring work that we're all invited to get involved with and support. So this is already happening for a lot of our journeyers, me included, and for those who've trusted their intuitions and begun to form meaningful relationships with the wisdom keepers. Those people, their journey has just become so meaningful in ways that they never would have expected getting involved with the dream arc. And so finally, I want to say that as we share in many places, the dream arc is not a program in shamanism. It is not rooted in and could never do justice to any specific indigenous tradition. In the end, people get the most out of the dream arc when they understand that it's a synthesis. It's an adventure designed to celebrate the multiplicity of one, the diversity inherent in unity. Our deepest intention is to take a more global view and look for those universal themes and patterns that lie behind all, or at least many, traditions and lineages. So it's really good to remember that all cultures have a strong tradition of animal stories, wisdom, and lore, and these are a rich resource for all of us. And we've invited in the wisdom keepers so that they can speak on behalf of their own lineages and traditions, and so that we don't have to speak on behalf of anybody else. Ultimately, our primary source of inspiration is derived from nature herself and the interaction between our imagination, dreams, and intuition with nature. So I got to say, I've been doing the Dream Arc for almost a year and a half now, not as a course creator, but as a journeyer myself. And I cannot imagine my life ever not having the Dream Arc inside of it. I don't see why I would ever want to stop. It's become a part of my life, part of my everyday. It's a conversation in my psyche. It's a dance between me and my environment, and I would not want to live without it. So I hope my little ramble has been helpful to you. And if you feel intuitively called to join us, you are so very welcome. And now you have some sense of the kinds of attitudes or things you can keep in mind that will help you get even more out of your journey. So hope to see you on the path.